assembly required, but listeners' discretion is advised. Sit back, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe or follow. Now, let's not keep you waiting. It's time to welcome your hosts of TNT Podcast, Tara and Tina.
Whoops. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of TNT Podcast with your hosts, the beautiful Tina and myself, Tara. You can follow us on Instagram at TNT Podcast Show or subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also available on all the listening platforms as well. And I just want to give thanks to anybody that's tuning in, watching, or listening. We do appreciate you as well. And I noticed that we've got some people watching already. So that's awesome. Before we get started, though, I just want to give a quick shout out to our brother, Gary Rudy of dragcoach.com. Whether you're a beginner or you want to improve on your drag racing skills, Gary is just awesome. Tons of experience. He offers different packages. He will travel. He's worked alongside with some of the fastest guys and girls in the States. So reach out to Gary, dragcoach.com for all your needs. He's great.
Yes,
so,
he is.
Yeah, he's awesome. So we have an awesome show for you guys tonight. We've got two amazing guests. The first one only being 16 years old. Her story is one of true fight and courage and determination. And the other is a seasoned drag racer with the ability to give this incredible young lady an awesome opportunity. So let's introduce them to the show. Welcome them in. Welcome, Madi.
Hi.
This is Miss Madi Turley and Mr. David Davies. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, guys.
Thanks for joining us. Oh,
feeling a little outnumbered.
Oh. Oh, well. You've done this before. So, Madi, you are in Rutledge, Tennessee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was my mother's maiden name, actually, Rutledge. And Mr. Davies, you're in the Cleveland, Ohio area.
Yeah, Kirtland, Ohio. Yes, just outside of Cleveland.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, first of all, Madi, wow, you're 16 years old and have accomplished so much already at such a young age. And you have an incredible story. You've had to overcome many obstacles along the way. And we will get to your story shortly because it's just amazing. But maybe, Mr. Davies, just a bit of background. You can fill us in on your history with drag racing. I do understand you're now in NHRA doing NMCA events. So maybe just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we've been running numerous cars over the years from 17 to 20-ish, 21. We ran pretty extensively with the Legion of Demons crew and the Modern Street Hemi Shootout crew. Lots of friends there. Lots of people that we still keep in touch with. Since 21, when we got a hold of the drag pack, we really haven't had a chance to go to too many of those events. We keep trying to. We keep having issues that prevent us to, primarily schedule.
Right.
You know, it's just tough when you're basically running a national event once a month for 10 months out of the year. It gets a little tricky. We always try to, and something comes up at the last minute, but we'll get back out with those guys eventually. But we're running almost exclusively NHRA events this year. We've got 10 events. We're in the middle of prep for the U.S. Nationals coming into India on Labor Day right now. That's kind of where everybody's focused. We got about 45 days off here, almost 60 days that we are to say that we're turning wrenches and making some changes would be an understatement for sure. We are actively going at it for the U.S. Nationals for sure.
That's what I was going to say. Between events, you need the downtime to make repairs and adjustments.
Yeah, I've got a we have to get engines. You know, we cycle through an engine every other event pretty much. We could run them more than that, but you know, we have the capability to get basically a fresh bullet in the car for almost every event or something with limited passes on it. We have to try to preserve the equipment we have. Locks are hard to buy. It's not just even the expense. They're just basically made out of unobtainium right now. They're hard to get.
Right.
We have to cycle through the equipment a little sooner than we normally would just to preserve what we have.
Right. And so just sticking to one class makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We've got a couple other irons in the fire that might make us do a couple different classes next year, but we are actively just doing one class this year, and geez, that's enough.
Yeah, no kidding. So one thing we definitely want to talk about is this new program that you have come out with. It's the driver developmental program, and this is where Madi comes into play. This is what she is a part of. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, what I learned in 21 when we got the drag pack, and I started to look into pretty vigorously what it was going to take to put that thing on the racetrack at the 8 or 10 events that the factory stock showdown class was running in. I quickly learned, like when you do anything new, you quickly learn what you didn't know.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot to it. I've been to any number of divisional events, any number, like I said, to other NMCA and the Modern Street Hemi stuff and the Legion of Demons and now the Legion of Mopar events. Been to any number of those, but it's a different animal when you're only running at national events, right? And thankfully, we're only doing 8 or 10 of them. We're not doing the full circuit.
Right.
So what I learned pretty quickly was that I needed to learn a lot. And so I in 21, I had the opportunity to run with Schumacher Racing for a couple years.
Yes.
Ran with Mark Powick and Leah in 21 and just basically shadowed them and look over their shoulder and learned a ton.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, in 22, I ran with Mark again and just learned a lot from just being in his orbit. And Leah's been immensely helpful even since. I can shoot her a text and she'll set me straight pretty quickly if I'm doing something squirrely. So it's been a very valuable thing. And I learned that data, that information, what you need to do to get better fast, there's no place to get that other than doing it. So I started to look at other classes and other racers, and I was adamant that we had to push this knowledge down. We have to remember where we came from and where we started, and we wanted to start pushing this down. So we started looking at a couple other classes. We're looking at some top alcohol. We're looking at some top sportsmen. And in the meantime, I ran into Maddie and her family. Was it Mo Party, right? Maddie in 21? Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Bowling Green. And started talking to them and saw what she was doing and saw what her dad was getting her able to do. And it just fit into what I had in my mind. We have to build people up. We have to give people a leg up when we can. And this was an opportunity to get somebody experience that they wouldn't get otherwise. We had Maddie in Bristol up in the tower talking to Alan, talking to Joe, running around the pits at the starting line. And that's just invaluable experience no matter what class of racing you're in, because the choreography of an event like that is something you can't explain to somebody until they've seen it.
Right.
So
yes,
that's the experience is what we're really trying to get after.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that gives her, all kinds of opportunities along the way.
Yeah, I mean, that and the fact we want to get her faster, but that'll come as mom allows it, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah, no kidding. I wanted to ask you too, though, why factory stock class? Why did you choose that particular class?
I like cars with doors. Okay, it's as simple as that. Now, don't get me wrong; it wouldn't surprise me at all if you see some cars without doors in our immediate future coming up here. But I like cars with doors. I had the opportunity to go into top alcohol. I had a couple of opportunities, and in 19, when the new drag pack was announced, being a Dodge guy and having a garage full of them already, I knew that's the car I wanted. I knew that's what I wanted to do. And then it got delayed in 20. And so in 21, I was talking to AJ and a bunch of people, and AJ Burge and I were going to go out and do this on our own. That was our plan until we both kind of got sucked in and set up and running with DSR. So we both learned a lot, but we were going to do this, and this is what we wanted to do, and this is the car that I was waiting for. So, I mean, I think I got the car in April of 21, and somebody look at the calendar, but I'm pretty sure Norwalk in 21 was in May, if not June.
Mm-hmm.
And that car made its first full power pass under the lights at Norwalk in a national event. And talk jumping off into the deep end, that's jumping off into the deep end, right? So
yeah, no kidding. I've got this awesome shot of your car. I'm not sure when this was.
That was Indy last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's when the crew chief starts yelling at you, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
What are you doing?
Yep. Hey, he put the tune in the car. It's his fault. That's why.
Yeah.
They're worried about when it comes down.
Yeah, really.
It came down.
Maybe can you talk to us a little bit about Save Our Allies? I want to learn a little bit about that.
Yeah, Save Our Allies, guys. This is a nonprofit that this is the group that went into Kabul as the city was falling, and they extracted about 2,000 visa holders and blue passport holder individuals out of Afghanistan as that airport was falling. They got 2,000 plus out in the 2 or 3 days they were there. They flew in from Jordan with their own aircraft. They went outside the wire and got people back into the airport and got them out of there. And they're still doing that. They're doing work in Ukraine right now, and they're still getting people out of Afghanistan and and even out of Africa and places and at-risk areas. They're doing things now that our government either can't do or is unwilling to do for a lot of different reasons. Not trying to be political.
Right.
But they're doing things now that we're going to hear about in 5 or 8 years. So look them up. Take an opportunity if you can to support them. If you can donate. If not, follow them. Stay on top of what they're doing. They're getting people out of harm's way in areas that nobody else can because of what they can do. So they're a group that I've met with numerous times. We had them in Charlotte last year, and we had them in Charlotte again this year. And we're working on an event we're trying to put together with them in Dallas when we race in Dallas near the end of this year as well. But they're an exciting group. I communicate with them all the time, and look them up and support them if you can.
Okay,
awesome.
Amazing. Yes, definitely. What's the connection with the aircraft maintenance industry and NHRA?
I've been inside of in various functions inside of private aviation for a number of years. Let's just say, I can't even believe I'm telling you it's 25. All inside of a single company, private equity firm that holds a lot of different assets inside of private aviation. One of them being FlexJet, one of them being Constant, and one of them that was Constant Aviation. I was put into Constant Aviation to restructure that business in 20. January of 20. Great time to take over any company, right?
Exactly.
Right. So we got that company back up on its feet. And one of the first things I knew we needed to do was let the industry know that the business was still alive because it was in bad shape. So we immediately saw an opportunity to sponsor the factory stock showdown with the NHRA in 20. We took that over about 2 or 3 races into the season, call it halfway through. And then we merged Constant Aviation and FlexJet together. FlexJet is a worldwide operator of private business jets. We have a fleet of about 200 aircraft.
Okay.
And one of the differentiators is we do all of our own maintenance.
Okay.
Our own employees do our own maintenance. We don't send any maintenance out to third parties like most of the other operators do. So we have a 210 aircraft fleet, and we needed more maintenance troops. And Constant Aviation was a maintenance facility. So we absorbed them together, and we're actively recruiting for maintenance technicians and pilots and a lot of different positions at every event. We had a huge crowd at Norwalk. It's been a great recruitment tool. If you think about it, the skill sets that go into working on these race cars, the fabrication, the electrician, the body work, the skill sets with the trade work with your hands is exactly what goes into working in our hangars and working on our aircraft. So
and enjoy it.
It's been a great tool. It's worked really well for us. It started as an opportunity basically to shine a light on a company that we wanted to shine a light on, to make the industry and the world know it was still around. But it just turned out to be such a great opportunity for us that we took it over on the FlexJet side and continued sponsoring the class this year in 23.
Amazing.
It's been good. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
Lots of doubters, even on my side. We had to kind of prove it. And
yeah,
I mean, it's been really good.
Fantastic. So what's coming up for you? Any other than this crazy schedule?
Crazy schedule. We're getting ready for, we're going to do some testing in Michigan sometime around the first week of August. We think we're going to go to Michigan and do some testing. The car is being supported out of the Wesley Motorsport Shop in Lansing with Kevin Helms, his crew chief in the car for me, and he's, of course, down in sunny Florida. So we're going to do some testing. We've got some things we need to work on. We had a great start of the season. We went to the semis in Gainesville and lost to Joe Welsh, who eventually won the race. We went to the semis in Charlotte, and then we started to stumble a little bit in Chicago and Bristol and even in Norwalk this last race. Last race, we just got beat, flat out beat, no mistakes. Stephen Bell he had a hell of a good race that weekend. He won it again too. So we're going to go testing because I'm tired of losing to the people that are winning these things.
Yeah.
Right? That's supposed to make you feel better. Maddie, that's supposed to make you feel better. In reality, it doesn't make you feel any better.
No, you still want to win. Yeah, you absolutely still want to win.
So we got that coming up, and we're chasing after a few other cars that we're going to try to add to the team here. It's taking a little longer than I expected, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if we find another door slammer type of car that's going to be rolling out next year for in the team as well. So
okay. How can people get in touch with you?
Facebook, Instagram, easy. That's what everybody does. That's the simplest way. DH Davies, II is for the second. I'm the second, so that's what that is down there. And the dhdavies.racing on the website and all the Instagram and all the social stuff as well.
Okay, awesome. Oh, we've got a question from Gary Rudy for you.
Yes. I guess I could try to tease that. I haven't got Wes and I at the Drag Illustrated are trading phone calls back and forth. We haven't connected, but if I can work out, we will do another DH Davies Racing factory stock classic at the World Series of Pro Mod this year. And that was a fantastic event too. Works as a great test session for everybody leading up into Gainesville, into the Gators. That's what worked for us. So we'll do that again this year. I'm trading phone calls with Wes. I'm sure, Wes, if you're listening, call me. We'll put something together again this year for sure.
That's great.
That's excellent. I wanted to show, I've got so much media too on both you guests. But I do want to show a really incredible video. I don't know if David, if you put it together or somebody else put it together, but it's really good. Just wanted to show the audience. I think it's Virginia is where you were.
Final pair, Constant Aviation Factory Stock Showdown. David Davies, that's Mr. Constant Aviation. All right, everybody, who wants to see the Dodge take down the Chevy? And who wants to see the Chevy load up that Dodge? How's it going to go? Who wants it more? Find out now. Victory for David Davies of Constant Aviation. And that is the run of his driving career.
You're on mute, Tara. There
Oh,
you
am
go.
I?
You are.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? That's excellent. I love those videos.
That's a great video.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Corey at React does those for us.
Oh,
And we try to do one at every event, no matter what the outcome is.
Yep.
Even when we get bounced in round one, there's still some good footage, and it's we have a ton of footage. I have a camera in the car, and all the guys are filming, and it's invaluable data. I mean, I can see what my feet are doing and my hands are doing. We can see what the car is doing, the suspension's doing. So we tend to watch more video when we do bad than when we do good, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of the way it goes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, Miss Madi, you've been patiently waiting there. You have been through so much in your short life so far. And maybe we'll get Dad to help as well, just filling in some of the childhood stuff that went on. I understand Madi, there was some complications with Madi when she was born.
Yeah. I mean, it would take hours to tell all of it, but just kind of hit the high spots. Yeah, she was born at 24 weeks. Like I said, just leaving so much out, it'd make more sense if I could tell it all. But again, I know the time is the issue.
Oh, no, go ahead. You tell whatever you want to tell.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give you an idea of her size. I'm not sure if you can see this good or not. Man, the screen is messed up.
there we go.
That's her diaper.
Oh, my.
And actually, when we would fold it over, it would almost come up to her neck, and we would, I mean, you can see the side of my hand, you know, the screen messing up. It's very, very, very small. And first of all, we was told that that there was going to be something wrong, that she was going to be born with open spine. Then we was told at one point that she was going, she did not have kidneys, and then they came back. Well, yeah, she does have the kidneys, but she doesn't have a bladder. And then one thing led to the other. Then of course they was pushing abortion, very much so, and that's something. Me as a person, I do not see a reason whatsoever that should be an option. And then our Christian faith also. I mean, there's just. But anyway. So, you know, I tell them, we're not playing God here. If, you know, I've already made peace with God. If I never get to hold her for a minute, if I get to hold her for 10 minutes and he takes her, or if I get to walk her down the aisle when she's 18, that was okay, you know. So again, one thing led to the other, and fast forward a little bit, she was, my wife was in the hospital. They put her in, so you're going to be here until, you know, you have her, whether it's full term or not. So when we went to the hospital, they told us at one point that this is how it's going to work. You're going to come in 3 days, we're taking a baby. And the doctor walked out, but she lasted 2 weeks in the hospital. I mean, in her mom's belly, of course. Because they told us, you know, they said, listen, a day in the belly is better than 2 weeks out here in the, you know, in the hospital. So she lasted longer than what they thought, of course. And again, I'm leaving so much out, but fast forward in the operating room, and
so is that when after she was born, she needed surgery right away?
No.
The delivery.
They told us that this is how it's going to be. We're going to go in the operating room. We're going to take her. You're not going to see her for so many days, or at least a couple of weeks, till we get her, you know, settled, or I'm lost word.
Stable.
Yeah, stable.
Stable. Mm-hmm.
And so we went in. They took her and turned around and said, "Oh, they told us also, said she's going to be bluish gray. You're going to think she's dead. She's not, but we got to rush her to the NICU unit, and that's how it's going to be." So that's what we was prepared for. So we was in the operating room, and the wife's blood pressure dropped to 32. The guys that was keeping an eye on my wife looked at her, you know, she was still talking to me at that time. not in sentences, but, I'd ask her questions. She'd answer one or two words or something. And they looked up at her blood pressure, and the bottom number was 32. And they said, well, that's not right. She'd be dead if it was. So they just turned a blind eye, and went on. So Maddie was born, and they took her, and they turned around and said, Dad, would you like to hold your baby girl? And she was as tan as I was. So I got to hold her for a few minutes, showed her to my wife, and they said, we've got to rush her to the NIC unit. So I went on the NIC unit, and she spent 66 days in a NIC unit.
I actually have a picture from your wife.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right there.
So, and she wasn't on a ventilator. The doctor said that's not possible. But again, through God and His mercy, things are possible. She, again, to prove that she was a 24-week preemie, later on in life, she had some tests done at Vanderbilt. They was checking her pituitary gland. And the doctor called me one day, and let me back up. We've had doctors laugh at us because, there's no way she's 24 weeks. She would have been vented and all this, and they just kind of brush off and, and go on. But we know she really is. So, fast forward again a little bit. The doctor from Vanderbilt called me and say, we done this scan, and we have found some nodules in her brain, but they're in the gray area. We're not worried about it. So they've probably been there since birth. They've not grew anywhere, just, go on with your life, let her grow up. Don't think nothing else about it. So I started hanging the phone up, and I heard him call my name. So I picked the phone back up and asked him, I said, was you needing something? Oh yeah. He said, I don't know if this makes a difference or not, but those nodules in her brain prove that she's a 24-week preemie, because that's where they came from. And again, it's like God saying, okay, I did it. Again, it proves that, so anyway, it goes from that to there's been some struggles from birth to probably 5th grade is when we took her out of school and started homeschooling her. But I feel like I've been scatterbrained. I'm trying to think of things over.
No, take your time. Oh, dude, awesome.
All right. But back up a little bit. We almost lost her 3 times in ICU. And again, sometimes, we think it was immunizations. We've got 1 or 2 doctors that agrees with us. Every other doctor says immunization doesn't hurt anybody. It's not that. But it's a funny thing. Every time she takes a shot of some kind, she ended up in a hospital for 7 days with that disease. And then actually my wife was the one that picked up on it. And there's a pattern here, things that it don't just happen. It's a pattern. There's something that God, of course. So she pulled her files out, the doctors had wrote, and of course they look like a dictionary. And her immune and infectious disease doctor, it was wrote plainly that until her blood was explained or reached normal, that she was never to have a shot or immunization of any kind. And by this time, she had all her shots ready for kindergarten,
Right.
So, it was crazy. But anyway, so she started in school and just sick all the time, hospital stays, emergency room visits. And at one time, we had it added up. Do you remember? We had it figured out at one time how many hospital, like 150 something hospital stays and emergency room. That's not counting family doctor visits or not her doctor. It was just hospital stays and emergency room visits. So
incredible.
But we took her out of school, and the best thing I know it was hard on Maddie. It really was. But in the long run, me and her mom struggled with that for a long time. Are we doing the right thing?
Yeah. Second guess yourself.
Yeah. We talked to some older people, and a pastor friend of mine. He said, well, first things first. It's you're the parent. What is it going to help her? I said, it already has helped her. What little bit she's been out of school, and he said, well, it's going to be tough on her, but it is what it is, and she's always been a type of kid to overcome and adapt. It's crazy the way even the teachers. There's other stories I could tell you on that, but So she's always been able to doubt that, if it's something easy for your kid to do, it may not be so easy for her, but it seemed like, again, she always adapt and fell right in place. And just like something, it sounds crazy, but something simple as tying your shoe. She does not tie her shoe the way anybody I've ever seen in this world. It's crazy. I mean, she learned herself. Nobody showed her. She learned. I mean, it is crazy stuff like that. So anyway, I don't know. Like I said, honestly, I stood up and give her story in front of a couple hundred people, and it took like 45 minutes. I was nonstop talking, and then when I finished, my son said, "You didn't tell him a third of it. You didn't tell him this." So it's.
Right.
I think my wife emailed you all her family testimony about Maddie and what we went, and her son also his struggles. He was just started kindergarten the week that Maddie was born, and the struggles that he went through, because we was always kind of not saying it's right or wrong, but just how we are. If where one goes, we all go. We always kind of tie to family, and so. Josh that's our son, he had never stayed with anyone at any time. And then bam, we're away from him for 2 weeks, and he starts kindergarten with 30-something kids. He has no idea who they are, don't know the teachers. And so it's been mentally and physically and financial. It's been tough. It's been, I mean, it's just like a roller coaster. We go in the hospital. Of course, when she's in a NICU unit, we could not stay but so many hours at a time. So we would come home. We get up. This is our routine. We'd get up in the morning, and my wife worked at that time, of course. I would get up and leave and go to work. She'd take me to school. She got off about 4:35-ish, something like that. She would pick him up at my mom and bring him home and spend time with him. And I would try to kick off early. I'd get home around 6 or something and spend time with him. We would stay with Josh till 9:30 or so, take him to mom and dad's, put him in bed. Then we'd go to the hospital and stay with Maddie till 4:30 in the morning or so. And then we'd come back and go to bed. And that was our routine. And I forgot where I was going with that story. But anyway,
it's just mentally and physically and everything. Like it's a lot, and over a period of time.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. I'm sorry. It's just like a roller coaster. You walk in a hospital one day, and the nurses will always come over to you and say, hey, this is all the tests we ran today. This is what she done. This is what she didn't do, whatever. And it was just like, one day you go in, everything was roses, and she done. Next day you go in, well, I don't know. We're going to give her 2 days, and if nothing changed, we don't know. So it was a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was a struggle for. It put weight on everything. Your marriage, my business. Again, it's. And actually the financial went on even further than that. And I'm not trying to. I don't want Maddie to think none of this was her fault.
No, absolutely. No.
But you're trying to run a business. She's trying to work. We're trying to take time about taking her to doctor's visits because you don't want my wife to miss too much. So she wouldn't lose her job, and then I would get behind taking her. So anyway, it was all just a struggle, but.
Hard juggling everything at once.
Yeah. But right? It's kind of like men and ladies go to the gym to work out. It's going to hurt to build those muscles. And there's no way I want Maddie to ever go through that again. But to look back and see how I grew through my faith and how my wife's marriage ended up growing closer.
Right.
It was worth it all. I mean, sometimes you can look back and be thankful for the struggles and the pain and the
absolutely
through. So, I mean, and there's I'm sure there's some stuff that we don't even have no idea that happened. And like a doctor sat down one day, one of my family doctors, he's a good friend of mine, and he said, it's amazing that you and your wife is still married.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what do you mean? And he said, it's like over 80% of parents that has a sick kid ends up in divorce, and you all are stuck together. And again, it's nothing that we done, but again, leaning on our faith and leaning on God, and through this whole thing, just like for instance, when Maddie was born, of course she wasn't supposed to be born yet. She was supposed to, be in the belly. So the valve in her heart, if I'm explaining this right, again, the doctor told me we don't know how this works. It's just a miracle. When the baby is born, that valve shuts off and the heart starts pumping blood, and we don't know. It just does. So this valve in her heart was not shut off. It's open. It sounded like a heart murmur when we listen to it.
Oh.
So we can go in and manually close that with heart surgery, or we can try some medication, or we can just give it time. And I said, well, I'm not for any kind of surgery right now. I'm all for giving it time, and let's just see what happens. Mm-hmm. So one night, we went in, no change. Next night, no change. And I'm thinking it was maybe 3 or 4 days after, I'm not sure now, and the doctor come in, smiled ear to ear, and he said, you can pat me on the back if you want to, but we know who did it. That valve was closing her heart, and her heart sounded perfect. So
wow.
Like, again, it's just like God just showing off through this whole thing, and I mean, you just have to lean on your faith at that time, because I mean, I'm not saying that's a last resort. I'm just saying, well, what do you got to hold on to? I mean, that's it. Everything in life changes, everything up and down and right and left, and His word is the only thing that does not change that we can lean on.
Yes,
that's true.
Yeah.
So
lots of just like a roller coaster, trying to balance everything, and wow, that's incredible.
But it's again, it's been a ride, and she's doing much better now. We've not had any hospital stays or in probably 2 years, I think.
That's great news.
Awesome.
So anyway, like I said, we're this whole thing. I won't get. Let me back up. I won't get started on that yet. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, like I said, when we brought her home from school, give you for instance, my wife was really on me about we've got to get her home. We've got to get her out of school and get her homeschooled so I can be one-on-one and get her ahead. And I was be upfront. I was selfish. I did not want to go to one paycheck because we've always struggled. We and I'm just like, there's no way we can make it. Mm-hmm. So my idea was, let's just kick it up, ball on down the road another year. Let's give it another year. Well, let's give it another year. And then, like I said, 5th grade, I finally said, that's it. Just get her out. We'll say whatever we got to do.
Right.
Because she's more important than anything we could have or think we need or want. So give you an idea, the last, let's see, let me think, how many days was it? 40? 45. The first 40 days of school, she missed, or was it 60 days? She missed 40. All right, let me just write. First 60 days for 5th grade year, she missed 40 for being sick. So that's kind of gives you an idea of what she was. And the teacher, and again, I don't know if we got a good school system. I shouldn't complain, but I don't know if they couldn't handle her or didn't have enough people to, but she was getting so far behind. And
right.
So we took
in
her
order
out.
to accommodate her. Yeah.
So we took her out, and wife is really good with books and this stuff, and she really pushed her and got her caught up pretty quick. And of course now she is caught up and doing good. So
excellent.
Again, there's so much more I could tell you, but all kind of gist of it anyway.
Well, it's pretty amazing, Madi. Just incredible, your story. But I want to ask you where Mopar Madi came from.
Mopar Madi came from one of my dad's buddies. Actually, he's more family than he is just our buddy. He was over the house one day. We were finishing the basement up, and I was telling him, I want to be a drag racer. I was starting out, just here and there, and how to get my YouTube channel started. Everybody wants one of those, and I was like, I want to get my story, but I wanted to just redo it and just make it fresh and try it again. And because I had done it for a little bit, I was like, I'm just burning out on this. And then I was like, no, just try it again. And so I did it, and I just redone it. And he said, what about Mopar Madi? And I was like, that ain't bad, it's catchy. And he said, you need a name. And he just said, Mopar Madi's that. And everybody's been calling me ever since. And that's how, this Mopar Madi came up, is by that one, by Doug Collins, everybody.
That's awesome. It fits perfect.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, actually, Doug is her biggest fan. When she walked off, that was the first day that he had met her in person.
Mm-hmm.
She walked off. He looked at me. He said, "Man, she's going to be big one of these days." So, and he's her biggest fan. Every time we call him, he said, "Hey, tell me what's coming up." He's supposed to be watching tonight, and
that's awesome.
He ain't got one way to go, going up. So,
yeah. Well, you know what, Maddie, you've been featured in like so many articles too already. Dodge Garage. I think Dodge Mopar Motorsports is another one. I was reading something on NHRA News. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Now, tell us about junior drag class that you wanted to enter, and you had to go through a few things, didn't you, to get licensed?
Yeah, I had to go through the junior street class. I went to Bristol, and I took my Challenger, as now that I use as my drag car. At that time, it's my daily driver and my drag car at the same time. So I took it, and they just said, "Hey, we need you to sign a few papers, and you can go down." So that's what I did. I went down, and I had to have that in the car with me, and we had to have our helmets and some pants. That's all you needed for that class, with just a pair of pants and a helmet.
Now, how old did you have to be?
15.
15? Okay.
I was 15 at that time. So I made a few passes, and at that time you made I think it was 4 passes, and then an official went down with you. So it was my 5th pass, and I went back. I said, "Do you need to get in with me?" He's like, "Nah, you're good. You know what you're doing. Just go ahead and do your 5th pass, and we'll count it." So I'm like, this was a lot easier than it sounded, because I was really nervous for that.
Oh, and for sure.
I never raced at Bristol before. This is my first time ever. So I come back around, and it's getting late, and they said, "Hey," they come up to me, my dad, and they said, "Hey, we're having a little race. Would you like to get in? It's a gambler's race." I was like, "Why not? It's something fun to do." And I was like, "Let's see what this car really has, and let's see what this car can really push." And I was going pass after pass, and just keep going. I'm like, okay, this is getting, just fun and just exciting. And it was me and the last person, and I came second in my first race ever.
That's amazing. Great. That's incredible.
That'll give you the bug.
Yeah.
You're hooked then.
Then you're hooked. What's your fastest time so far?
108.
108?
What
about the quarter mile?
Yeah, I made the quarter mile.
Yeah, 12:56, and
Mom and Dad keep up with all that.
8:07 and 8th. But actually, we just put a new cam, and AJ just sent us a new tune, so we don't know what the new setup is going to do. We'll probably find out tomorrow night. I think we got an email from UPS that their package will be delivered, and that's her computer and the tune that AJ has sent us. So we're going to try to get it on tomorrow and get to the track tomorrow night and see what we can do, see what the difference is. So
awesome. And you guys have where do you go to race tomorrow night?
We go tomorrow. It's just like a test and 2 night. It's at Rogersville.
Okay.
Cherokee Race Park. It's in Tennessee, the area.
Okay.
We just go up there and just test a little bit. We have some friends up there that we hang out with up there, and we like to test around there.
Yeah.
But all the local tracks is like Crossville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
We have, of course, what she said in Cherokee, and they have one in Knoxville, and then that's just one local, of course. And then we go to London, Kentucky, Bowling Green, Kentucky, and again we're going to Rockingham the first time. We're really excited for it. And of course, Bristol. And then we went to a new track this year in South Carolina. Really liked it, the House of Hook.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was unbelievable how the track was prepped.
You got to go there in February.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, we had the Demon at 970 in February there. We had the Mine Shaft Air. That's a good track to go chase air at, for sure.
I'm making notes in my.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What else can you tell us?
I gotta beat my time.
Go to Houston in January and then go to the House of Hook in February, and that was a good track. That's got, I mean, we're 500ths of a second off of Leah's time with a stock Demon, so it was a good place to go.
That's incredible.
Of course, if you tell her that, she'll tell you that I wasn't running the right tires. But, you know.
Yeah. Maddie, I have a clip here, and I definitely want to show it because there's a Camaro that you go up against, and this is early time.
I know the one she's talking about. I really want to see this one.
It's my favorite one, and this is before you had really done anything to the car.
Yeah, this is right? Nothing's been done to the car at this time.
Okay, let's show it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
there's a funny story behind that race. I gotta give it. It was another young lady driving a Camaro. I gotta give it to her. She could swap she could change the gears in that manual.
She done really good.
But
I was gonna say it sounded like it was manual.
But she was running around. Oh, you thought she was ruling a roost, that car. And then actually, that was only the first time, I think, second time that Maddie ran with another car, because the guy that was at Crossville. They're really great people to work with us and be patient with Maddie, you know, while she was learning. And the guy says, "Hey, do you care if I put Maddie with this Camaro?" I said, "No, that's fine." So the lady got so mad that Maddie beat her, she went and got her dad and went home. They were at the gate. They would come back and they didn't run again.
Is that?
No, that's true. That's a true story. And
that's something a boy should do.
That's what I do too.
Put them on a trailer and send them home. That's perfect.
Maddie, you are right where you belong, girl.
So and one more thing also. You just talking about her car, what time. To show you, and I got to brag on AJ just a minute, but she was running 940s, and we sent her ECM to AJ, and he wrote a tune and sent it back, and she ran 807. Just what he done. So I'm excited to see what the car does this weekend.
Yeah, AJ kind of knows what he's doing.
I too had a package.
Yeah. Good to get those two together.
I too had a package.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah's getting a package from AJ as well.
Yeah,
AJ's buying a good car on a dyno, so.
Yeah.
Great guy.
So,
great guy.
How did you get into drag racing? You found all this free time. She didn't go to the hospital for 2 years, and you thought, we have too much time on our hands. Let's get race cars.
No, actually, actually, I tried just about every sport. I tried basketball, gymnastics, ballet, anything you think of, and nothing. Like, I tried for a little bit. I'm like, I'm just over it. Like, there was just nothing that could fit. Just something I love, because my brother, he done basketball. I'm like, hey, maybe I'll like basketball too.
Yeah.
Tried it. No. And I was like, I just don't like it. And so Dad said, what about drag racing? And he said, hey, they're actually having a race. Some of our buddies want to go up there. Would you like to just experience one? So I said, yeah, why not? And they ran the track, and Dad said, I'm going to go down in my car. He has a RT Challenger. And I went down with him like several times. It'd be the first time I've ever went down a track, and I loved it. His buddy, Hellcat Joe, that's his nickname. He has a Hellcat, and he said, Maddie, they're going to close
1,200 horsepower.
It's with 1,200 horsepower, which that's a lot at that time. And I'm sitting here. He's like, hey, come on, get my car and we'll just go. And Dad, at that time, went over to him and said, hey, I want you to put her in the car and scare her, so hope she won't get into racing. At that time, I did not do that. And I got in it, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. Because at first I wasn't going to do it. And he went, and I got out, and I was like, oh, my heavens, this is something I want to do. And I turned around to Dad. I said, I already know what you're going to try to say. We're going to get a drag car. And then
Oh.
just left it this.
That's
So
awesome.
little plan backfired.
Yeah, your plan backfired, Dad. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend immediately walk up. He said, "You just messed up. Never put her in that car."
Maddie, what do you find the biggest challenge, like the toughest thing so far with the drag racing?
There is several, maybe consistency and especially that I'm a new driver and the people I race has been racing for like several years, and it's hard that to keep up with them. Sometimes it is, sometimes they figured it out. Some of them I can just blow by them, but sometimes it's hard to keep up with them.
Yeah.
So I think those are the main two. It's just, oh, I'm the new kid, so they're gonna come after me, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give you everything I got.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And how do you find competing in mostly a male dominated sport? Now I think the female presence is growing, but how's it been so far? Supportive?
Yeah, probably just being supportive. Probably my family being supportive, David being supportive, even just like, this sounds weird, but Rutledge, where I live, they all know that I drag race, and they're all supportive. Like, you can go out to, we have a little restaurant that we just live only 5 minutes away, and every time he comes in for breakfast or goes before he goes to work, like, what's new now? What's she done? And I'm like, they're all supportive. They're all, they're all helping me to get there, and they're all praying for me every time. It's amazing what people can do. It's
Yeah.
like that.
And being in this car community is incredible. That's one of the reasons I love it so much, is the people.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Family, really.
Mhm.
It's like a family for sure.
Especially the people that have the racers. Like, if I've been out to a big event, some of the racers I don't even know. I've actually met a factory stock driver, Richard Ingram. He came up to me and said, for a minute he thought I was David, and I'm like, no, I'm not David. I had 2 of those thinking I'm David because I've got his stickers in my car. I'm like, no, I'm not David. I'm this new driver though. And them coming up said, if there's anything I could do to help you, or there's a question, just come up to me and don't worry, that's not going to bother me whatsoever. And I'm like, thank you, because that means a lot to me that a driver's going to help me in any plan. Like,
oh, for sure.
That's something even better that I like.
What's your favorite track so far?
The House of Hook. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? What's your future goals? What do you want to get to, especially like after high school?
After high school, I'm thinking about going to college, but I'm not, set if I want to or not. Definitely see where this racing goes. I would love to be a full-time racer. That is my dream. That'd be my job as a full-time racer. And, I've always got a backup plan to be a mechanic if that happens. And so I'd love to do either of those.
That's awesome.
What about any drag racing school, like Frank Hawley's, anything like that? I mean, I guess by that point you'll be an expert already. You won't need to go.
I'm not really thought of. I have thought about going to one, but at the moment I don't. I'm not thought of anything. But maybe I might go to one. I might not. Just depends.
Right. And sponsors. So we know we've got Davies, Davies Racing.
Mm-hmm.
And AJ is another sponsor. Is there anybody else we could give a shout out to?
We got E3 Spark Plug and Richard Ingram. He's kind of done a small sponsor there. And this is going to sound funny, but Nachos Tacos, our local truck, has sponsored. They said free tacos for a year, so I'm unbelievably happy. So
awesome! I would love that.
So and I think we're going to try to do a few more here and there. So
awesome!
That's incredible. I want to show. Actually, did you enter? You were in the Women in Wheels event, right? And I just I was watching Kate, and so I just actually happened to catch you. In a video.
All motor. I need you to the lanes, please. All motor class. All motor class for Q2. I need you to the lanes, please.
You won that round.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't remember if that was my first or second pass. I'm not 100% sure if my first or second pass, but I remember the first pass going down that track, because that was the first time I ever done a long track since this year, and that's when we did all the work to it. And I was like, I don't know what this thing's going to do or not. And I remember coming out, and my heart was like pounding. I'm just sitting here like, that was awesome, feeling that much power, and the new stuff that we put down. This is going to be even more powerful. I think it's going to be even amazing.
That's awesome. So how fast do you want to go? What are you trying to get to for now?
130?
Okay.
Maybe?
Not with this car.
Well, maybe not this car. I don't know.
I wish you were at least 2 seconds quicker this year.
Yeah, 2 seconds quicker. Maybe a little lower. I'm not sure.
I think we can almost hit that spot. I really think we can.
Yeah, maybe we're on where Dad's thinking. That's probably where I want to go.
Okay.
Do you have any advice for any young women wanting to get into this sport?
Just probably that when you're ready, you need to be ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, just put your faith in God that, pray about this, because this is a sport that's not easy. This is a sport that's dangerous. And this is a sport, you need to try it. It's not like you need to go out here and just get, build a car that has a load of money in it and a load of horsepower. You can just go to a showroom floor and get you a factory car and go race it. So I think you need to be mentally prepared, ready for going down the track, just from dead stop to fast and then slow. This is something you got to be mentally ready for. I think that's
Right.
number one thing.
Do you do any other hobbies or anything outside of drag racing? Anything?
I do a little bit of art here and there on my off time, and then take care of my pet, Joe. So I have a little dog, so he's the other half of my work of off racing. So
that's awesome. So how can people reach out to you?
We've got Facebook or Instagram. Those are two, and YouTube, TikTok, a few of those.
And it's Madi Turley Racing, right? Okay, that's awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
And some of them are Mopar Madi, so either or.
Okay.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, I can't thank you guys enough. It was so awesome to meet you both.
Yes, it was.
And next week, Madi, we get to see you in Rockingham. I'm super excited to meet you in person and your family.
Yes.
Your journey, everything you're doing, and what David's doing to get you started is just, it's incredible. We need more of this. Absolutely. And I can't wait to see what you do in the future. And we're going to have you back because I want to keep track of what you're doing and growing and learning. And you're so amazing. So I definitely want to have you back for sure.
I'd like to say something if you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely.
Me and Maddie and her moms hadn't talked about this. Of course, this is before David and any of this stuff. This is when she first started the racing. I said, Maddie, it's all about getting your story out. And it's all about not getting a sponsorship. It's not winning $1 million a year. Initially it is about her and drag racing. It gets people's attention, but it's a story behind the story and hoping her story can help somebody.
That's right.
I don't know. You don't know who's struggling from day to day, and they may be struggling the same thing we are. I don't know.
Yeah. You never know what somebody else is going through.
Maddie, again, her height and size is what blows people's mind when she gets out of the car, and it's not only being a girl, I guess being a teenager, and I'm trying to embarrass her, but especially when she was younger, like, well, I wish I was taller, I wish I was this, I wish I was that, and that's what I always encourage her. If God wants to take your height and move the world with it, He can. That's not out of His hands. And I don't know where this is going to go. I have no idea. If you told me a year ago that we were sitting here having this, there's no way. It's like my wife said one time. If all this happened within like 2 or 3 years span, it would be a little bit easier to swallow. But, it just, this has happened with less than a year. It's just been crazy, wide open. I'm thankful. I'm not saying that. I really am. And again, I told her we're going to just ride this wave as long as we can ride it. Push your story as far as we can push it. And even Werner, I want to thank him also, our PR guy. He is really, really pushing her, done a great job, unbelievable. And he told us about also. He called. We was all just talking to him just about personal stuff, and he said, when I found out about you all, and I see you're just calming people, and the story that Maddie has, he said, I promise you, I'm going to push this thing as far as I can push it. So, and he's awesome. Nothing but outstanding, unbelievable guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're behind you 150%, Maddie. I just can't wait to see, what you accomplished and what you do. I'll be cheering from the Great White North most of the time.
Except for next weekend.
Yes.
Because she's coming down to see me.
Yeah. We're going to head over to Rockingham. So it's going to be great to meet you all. And I can't wait to see
you guys are finally letting you guys back in the country.
Yeah. Right. I hope I don't come smelling like campfire smoke.
Oh, that's okay. You and Greg too. Greg took forever to get down here over the last couple of years. He couldn't get his car down and couldn't come down and race or nothing, right? So
Davies.
Yeah.
And I was worried about slipping up, and because David Davies
and calling you Greg.
Because,
no, he's okay.
Greg's a good friend of mine, and so it's like muscle memory, right? Like pulling that parachute. I associate Davies with Greg.
Right.
So I thought, oh boy, I hope I don't mess that up.
You can slip up and call me Greg. I've been called worse things. He's a good egg. I like Greg. Greg's okay.
Yeah.
Glad to see he's got his car going too.
Fantastic guy. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you folks for joining us. This has been awesome. Take care and keep in touch, and we'll definitely have you guys back for sure. Thanks, David, for all you're doing.
Yes. Thanks, David.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're right. We need to get the story out, and we need more of this stuff.
Yep.
Right. In this crazy, crazy world that we're in. So look forward to talking to you guys again soon.
Thanks.
Take care, guys.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.
See ya.
Well, that's it, folks. And thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. And we'll be back, I think, in a couple of weeks. Good night, everybody.
Good night.